This is Richard Walker coming to you. Study guide number 3. Topic said This is the Way for Gas, Ladies and Gentlemen by Tadeusz Borowski, and Notes of a Native Son by James Baldwin. In the story This is the Way for Gas, Borowski tells the story of his time at a Nazi extermination camp. It was a pretty brutal story. The Nazis pretty much. This was a time in Nazi Germany where they were bringing the Jews to the death camp, Birkenau, to die. And with that, these inmates endured a lot of hardships. Borowski explained a day in the life of an inmate, and they were under control of like I said earlier, Hitler and the Third Reich. And these inmates were used solely to clear the trains that were coming through. They were to be cleared of once the people, then to take their possessions from them, and that's how they got their food also. And any jury or anything belonged to the Reich. They weren't allowed to take the jury because they would be either prosecuted or killed. They had a hard time with clearing some of those trains because they had the dead were on there also, and a lot of babies were on there too. And most of the SS officers that ran the train station, they had total control. Nothing got past them. They had very strict eyes. Borowski realizes that off one of the trains, a girl comes. She was very beautiful, and she asked him, where are they going? He didn't tell her, or he couldn't tell her, probably because he would face, punishment by lashing. And she said she knew where she was going and went and jumped on the train anyway. Well, on the trucks anyway, headed to the camps where he knew her fate, that she would die soon. And there are other examples, where he saw someone getting shot in the head, an old guy screaming that he wanted to speak to the Führer, and he was told by one of the SS officers that he would meet the Führer very soon and greet him with Heil Hitler. The living conditions and torture and survival of the death camps is what Borowski described in vivid detail. In the Notes of the Native Son, James Baldwin tells the story of his father that passed away, and how he eventually started to see the world the way his father did. His father grew up in New Orleans, hated New Orleans, and his father grew up a free man, but he knew the path of slavery that his family went through. He was trying to protect them from it, but James didn't see it at this time. They all thought his father was mean and just didn't understand what was going on. His father never explained it to him either. His father was mentally ill at the time, but James didn't understand that either, and it wasn't explained to him by his mother until his father was very sick. James was growing up with his dad. He realized his dad didn't have any trust for white people, even after losing his job. James' white elementary teacher helped support his family for years, and Dad still didn't trust her. He still tried to find ways to trick her into believing that she wasn't the good-hearted person that she actually was. James grew up to find out why his dad acted the way he did, and James found out about racism very quickly. Even though they lived up north, mostly in New Jersey, he still didn't understand, but he found out soon what being a Negro meant. He learned what he called acting, trying to make sure that his actions corroborated with the area that he was in. And he in a restaurant, he his first experience that he learned Negroes weren't served there. And then at another incident, he learned that Negroes weren't served, and he lashed out at a waitress, which almost cost him his life. After his funeral, after his father's funeral, he went to party at the Hotel Braddock in Harlem with a female friend in that same hotel. Gave birth to the Harlem Race Riot of 1943 and the Detroit Race Riots also. But James Baldwin eventually, after he grew up and got a little older, became an advocate for social justice and equality. And that's my study guide for test 3.